All right, so now that you know your way around Illustrator a little bit, we're going to talk about how you can customize your own workspace. Just like you would, set up your own desk and prepare it for whatever project or just move things around the way you like. You like some of your pencils and your erasers on this side so it's easier to grab with your right hand, whatever. Or you don't like it to be super crowded because it just kind of gets in your way and you can't focus. The same thing applies for Illustrator. They allow you to be able to customize things, your whole entire workspace. And your workspace is everything you are seeing right now. You have your desk right here, your paper, all your work, but then you have all your tools out here on the side. And how they're set as a default is just that. It's a default. So you can go ahead and alter that however you would like. Right now, if you look in the top right, it says Brad's Go-To. Again, I'm not very clever with names, but that's how I've set up that's a saved workspace. That's Brad's workspace. Maybe it doesn't look super interesting because I haven't changed a whole lot, but I wanted to show you how you can go ahead and customize your own and save some workspaces and toggle in between because that'll save you a lot of time and maybe it'll keep you a little bit more sane as you're working because it won't be so clustered, it'll be so crowded or whatever on the page, and you can get to the tools that you need. So if you go up here, you can see that it says Brad's Go-To. That's what I have now, but it also comes with some defaults. So before we customize our own, let's look at what's already there. Now they have essentials, you'll see it's kind of the same as mine. There's a painting, and you'll see that this automatically brings up, you'll see all these things start to change for you, and they kind of set it up for, if you were going to start a painting, these are the things that you would need. You need color, your swatches, your cooler account, your color guides, your brushes, stroke, your symbols. So all these different things in your layers, all this stuff is now, is something that it's anticipating you'll need for painting. And if you don't like it, we'll talk about customizing it and using this as a groundwork. And that's what I like to look at these as kind of like the framework for certain things. And if you want to alter them, you can to fit you better and fit your style of working better. Typography brings up some swatches, some character panels so that you can mess with your type. There's a web one that brings up your CSS properties, your appearance, all those types of things that'll be crucial for you when you're working in those formats. But let's go back to the essentials. Let's just say we want to go to the essentials. Let's see, these are okay. So we're resetting the essentials. I had it set as something else, but this is what you'll see. You'll notice that there's some things missing from what you saw on mine. So maybe there wasn't some character panel. So the first thing we want to do is let's look in window and see if we have everything that we want. There's some things down here, maybe type. If I go down to type and I want character because I don't see it over there, I can click character and you'll notice that a little box pops up and I could drag this over here, click on the black bar up top. I can drag it and you'll notice that it'll turn blue right under here. Let go. Now I have my characters, and they each have in the character panel, or each of these little panels, they each have their own little tabs that have now the paragraph styles and your open type options. And so each of them will have those things. Like if you open up layers, you'll notice that artboards are here as well. So you'll want to be able to navigate your way through these things and customize it how you want. So maybe there's a few other things in here in window that I'd like. Maybe or maybe I don't know is missing. Maybe color is already there, but I can't find it because I'm new to this whole thing. So I click color, it'll actually pop it out here if it's already there, and then you can see all the different options within here. And then you click on this little double arrow button, and it'll bring it back into here. Now maybe I want to see exactly what these are because it doesn't give any. They don't have any words connected to them, so it's kind of hard to understand what they are. Maybe at first, you don't know what these symbols are. So if you drag that out, you can drag it and resize it, and then you can go ahead and see what each of those icons do. And you can notice here that these little boxes here you can move. If you click here on this little black bar, you can go ahead and move those out on their own, and then you can hover over and you can either make them a part of this whole group, or you'll notice that if it has the blue highlight around it, it'll be a part of that group. But if you keep going up a little bit, it'll put it right in the middle, and then you can organize them that way. Now, if I want to take out, maybe let's say, maybe I think some of these things go better together than how it's laid out here. I don't like this. So maybe I want color out on its own. If I click on it, maybe if I click on the color, it'll just, it'll have it out there by itself. And maybe I want it larger. I like to see the different gamuts of color that I have as an option. And then maybe the color guide should go with that too. So I want to drag that down, but I want to see it at all times. I don't want it to be hidden there in the side. So I can drag out those separate boxes. I can put it, if I connect it here, it'll do that. So maybe I don't want it to be connected. I want to be able to see it all the time. And so if I click over here, don't have it connect, just have it right underneath it, and then you can see it always open, and you can connect to other ones that are open to each other. So I hope that's clear. I mean, you could play around with it and see as you click around, you'll notice how you can maneuver things, but really you can do so much. I can drag that, throw it, and you'll notice that now character and color are in the same one. I can take the color out, click on it, bring it under here. So you have a lot of different options there to customize your space. But so play around with that, and then also within each of these, you can go ahead and let's say if I'm looking into, I'll just do it let's do swatches. I'll click on swatches. You'll notice that there's these little buttons right here. What that does, if you click on that, that adds more options within that tool. Not to make anything more confusing. I know there's a lot to take in, and so this is just kind of overwhelming, maybe a little bit, knowing that there's even more tools there, but they're actually very, very helpful things to know. And there's also, you can go through and each of them have their own little settings here that you can mess with. But over here, if you click on here, you can see things like Open Swatch Library. Maybe you had no idea that you could already have swatches, color swatches, that they've already made for you. So maybe I want earth tone, swatches, and I get these colors right here, and I want to have those out and available for myself. But you never knew they were there because they're just hidden over here. You can make a new swatch, new color group. You can sort them. So each of these, so even in brushes, if you notice, it has a whole new set of options in there. So know that those are there, and we'll go into those in more detail as we go throughout further courses, and we'll be using them quite often. But so now you kind of figured out how to maneuver your way around, set up, customize your workspace. Now let's go ahead and save this workspace by just going to this section up here. Go all the way to the bottom here. It says New Workspace. I want to click on it. Let's type Test Space. Click OK. So now we have this saved as this. And now let's say I want to go back to Brad's Go-To. There we go. It'll reset it. But maybe now I have those new settings and I'm starting a new project and they're better for that. So I'll go back to Test Space. Or I want to start a painting. I'll go back there. So you can toggle in between these all day long, and you can make your new ones. If you don't like what you made, just go ahead and save over it by altering it. Go to Brad's Go-To. I make a few changes. I drag some things out, and that's how I like them. And then I can go and save it as a new workspace. I'll save it as the same thing. It'll just save over it. And then I can, if you're tired of a workspace that you've created, go to Manage Workspaces. You can click on them. You can duplicate them, or you can just go ahead and delete them. And so if let's say Test Space, I want to delete. Then you click OK. So now all I have is my Go-To, and maybe I made some changes in here. Let's say I made some changes over here to my workspace, and I feel kind of like, oh, darn it, I really wish I wouldn't have moved all that stuff. So go back to Brad's Go-To, and then you can reset it to what you originally had saved it as. So, okay, hopefully I did not confuse you or lose any of you at this point. Just letting you know you can customize this thing all day long, and you can and make as many workspaces as you'd like, and to help you out be more efficient and just know your way around the workspace and feel a little bit more comfortable around it. But to also, one other thing before I let you go, I would check preferences. A whole lot of things in here as well. We'll be going through them eventually through different courses. We'll be kind of hitting on each of these separately. But if you go through and see general, like we already went over keyboard increments, and there's a bunch of other options here that we'll talk about. But if you you can see type. There's units. You can change all these things. So you can play around with this in your own time until we actually get to these for specific areas. But if you go down to user interface, this one's kind of just a little thing, but some people really like to work with the lighter workspace, so it changes the whole. Some of the older versions of Illustrator look like this, but maybe you like it a little bit darker. I like it medium dark. It's just perfect for me, but just whatever you decide that works best for you. So, alrighty, I think I've talked your ear off. Hopefully you're able to play around with this a little bit and experiment and set up your own workspace. So go ahead, do that now, and we'll then after this we'll talk about some basic tools and start moving around some shapes. So, alrighty, thanks so much.